So if we can start, tell me about yourself as a teacher. How do you perceive yourself as a teacher?
I perceive myself as a teacher that is always willing to try new things, one that is flexible and want to do what's best for students.
Okay.
Want to raise student achievement by any means possible.
Student achievement's very important to you.
Yes. Yes. And relationships with students, because I think you can raise student achievement if you don't have positive relationships.
Positive relationships. Tell me more about positive relationships with students and why that's important to you. The way that you interact with a child you think is extremely important to their ability to achieve.
Yes.
And the positive way in which you do that, tell me what that includes. What does that mean, positive
Positive
interactions?
means the language you use with your kids, the way you respond to their behaviors, whether good or bad, and the way you treat them and their family as members of your family when they come inside of your class.
Oh, that's a wonderful perspective to have, treating them like your family.
Because when you treat them like your family, then you treat them better. Yes, because I see the correlation. I think that if you don't have positive relationships, then you don't raise student achievement.
So right now in the classroom, how do you feel about your relationships with students?
I feel that I'm working to gain those positive relationships with my students. School just started,
Right.
and so we're still working on gaining those positive relationships.
What do you do on a day-to-day basis that helps with that?
Well, I'm reading a book that is called The Power of Our Language that our principal gave us. So I use those techniques in the way that I construct my classroom and the language that I use. And I just try to get to know my kids on a personal level.
Okay. And is there a difference in building a positive relationship between a child who might have pretty extreme challenging behaviors and a child who might not have those extreme challenges? What
There's
are
an
those?
extreme difference.
Oh, there's an extreme difference.
Because with a child that's having extreme challenging behaviors, you're more apt to use more negative language.
Okay.
Because you have to call on those kids a lot.
All right.
And so, and even when you say things, like sit down, it doesn't just come out like sit down. It's more like sit down.
Right.
And so to that child, it's a negative response, and it's not being positive.
And so their behavior changes a little bit your behavior towards them in terms of this building this positive relationship.
Yes, which is the reason why I put out that resource, The Power of Our Language.
So you felt it
Because
this year in your classroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Because in this year I have way more challenges as far as behavior than I did last year.
Gotcha.
And so I'm being conscious about what I say and how I say it, based on the work that I've done with you.
And that's an important thing to you because you think that your behavior really does affect not only the relationship between other children, but their ability then to achieve with the educational material in your classroom.
And it affects the relationship with the parents also. And if you want to get the parents on your side, because they are the kids' first teacher, so if you want them on your side and working with you because they are your partner, then you have to make sure your relationship with their child and with them is always in a positive way. Oh. Not always easy to do, but always something you should strive for.
Sounds like you're using some of the same techniques then that you do with the children when you have the opportunity to interact with parents.
Yes, I do. I call the parents. I haven't called parents at all about any behaviors that are inappropriate in the classroom because I'm still building relationships. And so if it's something severe, then I'll send home a note. And if the parent wishes to call me, then of course I'll respond and tell them what happened. But I haven't called them about any challenging behaviors in our classroom.
Wow, what does that do for your relationship with a parent? That's a very unique perspective.
Because it builds the rapport first. Because the parents begin to feel that not every little thing that their child does that's inappropriate in the classroom, or they're going to get a phone call about. So it opens the parents up to, when you do have a call them about challenging behaviors, to actually address what is happening in the classroom. Instead of, because as a parent, if a teacher is calling you about every little thing, you begin to shut yourself off. And parents begin to blame teachers. Or they just can't get along with the teacher, or the teacher don't like my child. And I don't want parents to feel like that I don't like their children.
Right.
I don't ever want them to feel like I don't like their children. But sometimes I don't like their child's behavior. And that's the message I want them to get. It's not your child, it's the behavior that I don't like.
That is just a superb value that you hold, the idea that positive relationships help to build towards achievement in your classroom, and that you're extending that to parents. I mean, I commend you on that. That's a rare perspective to have, given what you told me, that the behaviors in your classroom are a little bit worse this year than they have been in the past.